Okay, hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Danny. This is Lux News Network, and today we got another special guest. His name is Brian South, and he's from Sacramento, California. He's AKA known as the Swiss Army knife of college admissions. Uh, he like to describe himself as a hybrid coach because he's good at coaching his students and his pupils through life coaching, college prep, and academic tutoring. And then I'm gonna allow Brian to talk to you guys for a brief moment just to say hello.
Yes, greetings, everyone. I am Brian Keith South, the college admission coach, mentor for students of all different ages and stages of their academic journey. I've been doing this sort of work for 15 years. I've worked with students of all different backgrounds and educational attainment. And my main objective is to not only help achieve success, but to build the confidence and the resilience and the strategies that are going to serve them in college and beyond. I want them to to find their purpose and their passion and through academics.
That's very good. So why did you want to become a teacher, a tutor? What drove you to do this?
Well, I think it goes back to Gandhi's quote, to be the change that you want in others. By supporting others, I'm basically fulfilling a need to get the support that I never received when I was growing up. I often found, particularly when I would ask for help for instructors, they would say, go figure it out for yourself, basically. And I often felt isolated. Uh, and and so I decided to revolutionize that approach and to give them complete support. And what I found out that in so doing that is that they develop the confidence and the skills to branch out on their own. And I've seen this repeated many times over the years where I would offer the support and then they would flourish.
Yeah, that is true. Nowadays, teachers they're not really good at teaching. They just tell students to figure out for themselves, and not everybody's a self-learner. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you describe your teaching style?
My teaching style is that I'm collaborative as opposed to dictative. Um, I I align with the clients I work with. Um, I I approach them as a coach, as someone who's there to support them, to guide them, and to bring out the best in them, that they know what they want. The word education is from the Latin word educare, which means to draw from within. So it's not something that's thrust on them from the outside. It's bringing out their talents and abilities and just giving them the skills, uh, the confidence, the support, the accountability, essentially whatever they need to flourish in their own way.
Okay. What are you most excited about when it comes to your line of work?
Well, there's a lot of things that just thrill me about the work I do, but if I were to talk about one in particular, I would say that when I work with students, I often feel like a gardener. I'm planting seeds. And when I see students blossom, when I see them flourish, when I see them become independent, productive members of society, and they're confident, then I feel like I have achieved my purpose.
Right, right. That's good. That's strong driving force. And what would you say is like some things that make you anxious when you're doing your line of work?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, throughout most of my life, due to experiences I've had, I often would feel a lot of anxiety But what I think, but as time has passed, as I've gotten older, as I've matured, as I've gotten more seasoned and experience, I've just learned that there really is no good or bad. It's just how you reframe or interpret a situation. So if I experience a situation that may cause me to pause, then I reflect on what lesson I'm learning from that. What can I impart to the people that I want to learn from me? And so the experience tends to move in a positive light as a result.
Um, some would say education is important, and some would say education is not important. What do you think? Why not?
Okay, well, first of all, education is critical. It's non-negotiable. In fact, if someone's even able to voice an opinion that it's not important, they had to be educated on how to talk to be able to form that view. I mean, if they were not educated, they would not be able to talk. Learning how to walk is education. Someone schooled them on how to walk. Um, Education equals empowerment. It equals confidence. It equals contribution. The more people who are educated, the better our world will be because people have unique talents and education. The true education is just bringing out those talents and directing them in a productive way.
Yeah, that was a great answer. I really like that answer. Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
Uh, you're welcome. Would you say Gen Z kids, are they smarter than the generation of baby boomers with their education? If you were to compare both education systems.
Well, I think the way I would look at it, it's not a matter of being smarter or not smarter. I think we just simply live in different times, and that the generation we live in today requires a different set of skills that the baby boomers did not need to use in previous generations. I mean, today in this technologically advanced society, the Generation Z students need to learn a lot of technological tools in order to live in the world that we live in today, and and the technology that we use actually affects our brain and it affects the way we process information. It requires different skills. I personally believe, it goes back to probably Newton's law that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It's not that one is smarter than the other, it's just distributed. It's just that the collective intelligence is distributed differently. I mean, we've had brilliant people all the way back, long before, several for thousands of years who invented new principles in mathematics and philosophy. So people have always had the potential to be brilliant, and it's just that how we manifest our intelligence and the type of skills that are required to operate in today's world are just simply different. They're expressed differently. That's all.
Right, that's true. That's true. That's very true. Um, what do you like the most about tutoring and helping people get into college?
Well, what I like the most is that when I work with an individual, I'm not just merely helping the person, the client, but the dynamics of that client, the community, parents, everyone connected, everyone is affected by the work that we do. Because if if I work with a client and that client succeeds, that creates peace and harmony in the family. A lot of times when they hire me, they have a problem, they have a concern, they have a worry, that they have high hopes for their children. They want them to do great things, and maybe they some of them do not bring about any particular problem when I start working with them, but others actually have challenges. And when I work with them and when they succeed, it just changes the whole way that they operate around each other. There's there's a greater sense of joy, connection, and fulfillment, not only for the client but for everyone around me. And so witnessing that process is fulfilling for me.
That's good. So you do more than just help them get into college. You build like a relationship.
Right. Well, you see, I think the important point, and this may come up, in questions too, is college is just a vehicle. I mean, just like getting in a car. I mean, you could drive in a Prius, you could drive in a Honda, you could drive in a Lexus. It's just a way of getting from point A to point B. And the same thing is true with college. I mean, college is just a vehicle to get people to a place where they could have a promising career, skills, networking. Uh, College is a great way to do it. People who traditionally get a college education have more opportunities, but college isn't the only way. Some people may choose a different path other than college. The important thing is that the vehicle that they choose is running smoothly, and is going to actually get them to where they want to go.
Right, right. That's true. Um, do you help with SAT and ACT prep or just one?
I have helped students with both SAT and ACT preparation. Since COVID, most colleges actually do not require those tests. They're optional. So the areas where I am needed the most are mostly in writing essays, statements of purpose to get into college, because I believe that colleges look at them more than they did in the past. Not that they didn't; they've always looked at those. They could be a deciding factor if there's an area of question whether a student gets into college or not. But uh, those tests are now not as mandatory, as critical as they used to be. They're still out there, but there's still some families want support in those areas, but they're not as important as they used to be.
Yeah, that's good. That's good that they're not. Um, how do you feel about college admission scandals? Like the bribery scandals, like the Operation Varsity Blues, like with like the Hollywood celebrities paying extra money for the kids to bribe them to get them into whatever college.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that what happened there is actually a reflection of what's of a concern that's happening everywhere in the modern world, is that people want things fast, fast, fast. And there is no shortcut to personal growth and the skills to be successful.
Right.
What they did was they thought, I'll just buy my kid into the most expensive school, and that's all I need to do. If they just have that name in front of them, and it doesn't work that way. See, when I work with students, it's about where, in order to qualify for the schools, we think about what is their mission and what is their vision, what are their values, what kind of things, how do they want to show up in the world, how do they want to serve society, and knowing, first of all, identifying those, articulating them in an essay, and then knowing the values of the college or what's or going to put them in a favorable light. And then there's personal growth that takes place just in identifying those things. Plus, there's the writing skills that they that they'll develop in the course of preparing. So, and then there's the struggle, uh, which is inevitable and necessary to process, to go through that, and then come out on the other end victorious. That you can't short change that process. It has to be engaged. Just like if you plant a seed in the ground, you can't expect a tree or produce to just sprout instantaneously. There is a growth cycle that must take place, and you cannot rush that along. And I think that's what they did, and that's why it couldn't work. Um, Even if they actually, it was a blessing for them that they got caught, because the worst thing that could have happened is that they did get the go through that process and they weren't prepared to be able to handle it at all, because they didn't have the skills, they didn't have the proper background and training. That so exposing that was actually the best thing that could have happened for them.
Right. Um, yeah, can you tell us about your service, demystifying college admission?
Well, that's the book I wrote. I wrote a book called Demystifying College Admission. I'll show you a copy of that. This is my book right here, which you can get on Amazon and other outlets.
Yeah, I'll put
Um,
it in a link down below. Yeah.
yeah, sure. Pardon me?
I'll put it once this video is finished, I'll put it in a link down below so people can check it out.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's my book, and basically, it's a condensed version of the services I offer. As I was saying earlier, my coaching style or my mentoring style is a hybrid. It's about personal growth and the process of succeeding academically. The way I approach students is that we brainstorm and collaborate together about um, what is important to them, what their values are, where they want to go to school, and then we do some research about the college or the school that they want to apply to, and find out, what courses they offer, what are their values, what is their mission statement, what is their vision statement, what kind of student are they seeking, and to show the student how to write engaging language that kind of mirrors the way the college wants people to show up. And um, I I support students in not only writing like an engaging essay. I teach them writing techniques so that they learn how to write these on their own. They get they When they come out of it, they typically get into a good school. They've increased their confidence. They've increased their writing skills, and they're prepared to face whatever challenges that they're inevitably going to face, because those things need to be taught. Um, Self-development is not a something that's typically taught in school, like how the brain works, how to deal with challenges when they come, because that's inevitable. Um, how to reframe situations, how to present the very best version of themselves on paper when they get into college. Yeah. And basically, I teach them how to learn. I show them, learning how to learn is an important part of the process, and that's what we work on.
Yeah, it sounds like you provide a very good service. Yeah, based off your answer and your background knowledge, it sounds really good. Um, uh, what is a common question you always get asked about tutoring? Like why you're tutoring someone? What's a common question that your students always ask you?
Well, I think basically, I think that when they seek my services, they have a problem, or I'm calling it a problem. It's just a project, we'll call it. They want to get in. They want to get into a good school, or they want to improve, and they want to know how that's going to happen for them. Basically, the parents have a concern. They want their student to shine academically. They want them to be successful, and they just want to know how that's going to happen. And I let them know that it's an organic process. Um, Sometimes we get results fairly quickly, but sometimes, depending on the client or the engagement, it could take significantly longer. The important thing is that growth does take place, and that's what I do. I've helped students get into a wide range of careers. They've gotten into biomedical engineering, law, um, you know, legislation. Uh, some became teachers. Some are becoming graphic artists. With some students I work with, our engagement may only be 2 to 5 months. Others I've committed to for over a decade.
Wow.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell us about how you became a board member for Saint Nia, a nonprofit organization?
Well, I became a board member for Saint Nia about 6 years ago. I connected through a networking event. I did a number of different type of connections through real estate and we so for a period of time I worked with Saint Nia and promoting their vision to promote financial literacy. Um, uh, I believe in, what I believe in doing is directing my focus to helping my students and some projects and organizations I work with just only for a brief period of time to promote that work. The way I operate is that I believe that students need to be whole, that while I'm helping them develop their academic abilities, I'm also wanting them to develop their entrepreneurial skills, including financial literacy. And in fact, um, one of the things I instruct students when we're writing the essays is that they're engaging in a relationship between them and the college that they're selecting. And so they want to learn how to write persuasively and in an engaging way, like they're relating to another person. And the way they do that is developing the right mindset. I help them develop the right mindset. And that's why the subtitle of my book is Learn Key Strategies and Develop the Right Mindset to Get in the College of Your Choice, because I really believe that their success in getting into college or even being able to afford it really has to do with their frame of mind. If they're determined, if they know that college is the right choice for them, then regardless of how expensive it is or what obstacles they'll go through, they'll find a way to make it happen. So most of the work I do with students is really to get the right belief that they can do it, that the resources are available for them, and that they need to be persistent no matter what happens. No matter what direction the wind blows, they're focusing and moving straight in. My book, in fact, what makes it really unique about the book I wrote along that is that I address populations that most people don't. I have a chapter in my book about foster youth, like how to get into college, and the incarcerated. A lot of people who are in these situations believe that there is no hope, there's no options for them, but there's actually tons and tons of resources everywhere. It's just a matter of finding them, and sometimes you just need a helping hand or someone to give you a little boost and guide in there. And actually, I talk about a number of free services that they could qualify for. They don't even know that they could get. I mean, there are scholarships where if you're incarcerated, you could get it just by being incarcerated. If you're,
Wow.
yeah.
I didn't know
Um,
that.
well, yeah, I found that out by researching it. I participated with a prison university scholarship, and there's whole organizations that are out there that will at San Quentin Prison, for example, has pioneered the Prison University Project. And I actually went into the prison grounds and sat in on a class that was taught by a volunteer professor at UC Berkeley to the inmates on chemistry, and it's probably one of the best classes I ever had. She broke everything down in very simple strategies. And foster kids, they just by being in foster care, they can get almost their whole tuition paid. And then there are organizations also that will provide special internships and opportunities for them. They're out there, but they don't but they don't know that those resources are there. Um, I've mentored students in juvenile hall and have helped them with some of their coursework. So everybody, has the opportunity to grow. And no matter where they are, I've worked with some students that just start off taking the GED, and then they can, and helping them get through that process, and then they can go right on into the college of their choice. I even help people with career planning too, who aren't going the college route. And recently, I just helped somebody, get into a program, into a vocational program um, that's free. That's free. There's no cost to it, and we'll get complete training. And so there's a number of opportunities or ways I serve people. This person, in particular, was in the electrical, wanted to go into the electrical field, and I found out the name of it's free. He will be able to get complete full training and connection to industries where he'll be able to work with major companies. And the family hired me to be able to help him, but he didn't know where to start, and those resources were there all along. And I just found them and directed it to him. And this person will get training. Will actually be there are actually companies like Tesla and Samsung actually come in to this through this organization to recruit people, to work for him. And the student just said, this person I work with just recently, I connected him to this organization, starting training actually this week. So
That's good. That's really, really good. Um, can you tell us about Money Smart Talks?
yeah, well, basically in my work with several nonprofit organizations, uh, it's I've partnered with other people that promote financial literacy to youth, because money is just one of those topics, along with self-development, that's really not emphasized in schools. And so I believe it's important that people get understand these things.
Right.
Understanding life schools. Now, I have a friend. It was actually through the Saint Nia organization. Her name was Malika Singleton, and she spearheaded this uh, group with others who collaborated with her in providing financial literacy for young people.
You mentioned that your publisher is Carnelian Moon. How does
Yes.
a new author get published uh, by a publisher?
Well, there's a number of ways that an author could get published. I actually one of the services I offer for, as well as helping authors get started with writing their books. Because if you were born, if you survived any ordeal, you have a story in you that needs to be told. Now, I connected with Carnelian Moon. They were, fantastic, fantastic people. Judy Schroeder and Debbie Brindle were extremely supportive in helping me get the design cover for my book, and the layout for my book. And they spent several hours in the process of getting the book published. They're a hybrid publisher. So in other words, you're like a self-published author, but they just provide tremendous support in getting the book published. Now, you can find more information about how that process worked for me, specifically by going on YouTube, and you can see my book launch that's on there. I think the easiest way I can find myself on there is just go Brian Keefe South. I may have included it in the one-page sheet that I sent, but in case not, that's how you would find it on YouTube.
Okay, so yeah, so your social media is YouTube. What other social media do you have so I can put that
Okay.
down link?
Okay, so here you could find me the following ways. I have my website is mightymentor2u.com. That's the words mighty and then mentor and then the number 2 and the letter u.com. So that's my website. You can find me on Facebook. There's my page as my business page there is Mighty Mentor to You, and my personal page is Brian Keefe South. I'm on LinkedIn, um, and I'm also on Instagram as well.
Okay, yeah. When this meeting's finished, can you just email me those links and then I'll drop it down in a link
Yeah,
below.
absolutely. Yeah, right after we're done, I will send you all that information.
Okay. When it's all said and done, what legacy do you wish to leave behind?
Well, the simple answer to that is that I want to leave the world a better place. As a result of my being here, I want people to be able to sleep better, to feel more confident about themselves, to become their personal best version of themselves as a result of the support I gave them. And the way in which I want to do that, of course, is through speaking engagements, through books, through the mentoring services that I offer. Those are ways in which I'm able to make my contribution to the world. But basically, if people have changed the course of their lives and they're moving in a direction that's more in alignment with their authentic self, then I've done my duty. I believe that that there are two things that I offer people that probably the most important of everything that I do, and that is presence, enthusiasm, and consistency. Just being fully engaged and enthusiastic constantly and continuously makes all the difference in the world for the people I work
Right, right. That's a great answer. Great answer. Yeah, I'm gonna try to work on getting like a upgraded membership so that we can have longer conversations. But yeah, like you said, education is important. I just became an LPN. I passed my boards. I'm about to go for my RN soon. So yeah, education
with.
is important and it helps improve society. I agree with that. Yeah,
Mhm.
the more educated people, the better. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I've been supporting students for well over 10 years. In fact, a couple of clients, I worked with them for 13 years consistently. So, um, and I think that's what builds strength and confidence is reliability, dependability, knowing that someone is there to support them. And then at some point they just feel enough confidence and skillful enough that they can operate independently because now they've built up those skills in themselves. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you, Brian, for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you, and shout
Thank you.
out to Radio Podcast and what was that other podcast? How did we meet? It was Radio Podcast, or it was a different
Yeah,
one? Radio
I believe
Podcast?
yeah, I believe it was the radio podcast one. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Radio Podcast. It brought me and Brian together. It's a wonderful service to network and to do podcasts and get on podcasts is great. Thank you, Brian. I'll be glad to have you back on here again, if given the chance. And I hope this experience was a great experience for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.